Hi guys, welcome back to another video. For those that are new here, my name is Jasmine Navarro-Chan and I like to make motherhood, encouragement, godly videos. You may see some lifestyle here and there, but this is mainly what you'll be finding. So if you are interested or if you watched my previous one, subscribe because that's what's coming. In this video, I want to share with you guys something that I read from the book Parenting by Paul David Tripp. And basically what I'm going to do is read to you guys a few things that I felt have impacted me from the book. Obviously, there's so many chapters in the book, so many pages, so many things that have touched me. So that's why I will continue sharing things I have learned from the book, things that have impacted me in further videos as well. But I don't want to take any credit whatsoever from what I'm sharing. I don't want to say that, it's all from my mind. Not at all. I'm basically going to read it off from here and discuss it and share with you guys why it has impacted me and how it has influenced my motherhood journey. Okay, so obviously I can't read every single thing to go into context of exactly the quotes that I'll be sharing, but I will do my best to share as much as I can and explain it. So in this quote, it says, "Your spiritual habits together form a portrait of what is really valuable to you." Think with me for a moment. If I were to watch a video with you of your last 2 months, what would I conclude of true value to you? Or if I were to watch the last few months of you parenting your kids, what would I say about the level of importance given to this foundational task that God has assigned to you? Bam! I'm jumping right into it. Why? Because parenting is either a thing of high treasure to you, and that is demonstrated in your chores, words, and actions every day, or it is not. It's so humbling but helpful to admit that on this side of our final home, many things in our lives as parents compete for a place in the treasure center of our hearts. He proceeds going, for example, we live in a world of beautiful physical things, either created by God or crafted by man out of what God created. These physical things play out to the quest for beauty that God built inside us, but they can command a place in our hearts that God never intended. And if the pleasure of physical possessions becomes too important to you, it will create all kinds of dysfunction in the task that God has called you to as a parent. So for an example, parents who are too controlled by possessions, houses, cars, lawns, furniture, artwork, you name it, tend to be so busy at acquiring, maintaining, financing, and protecting their possessions that they have way too little time to invest in their children in the way God intended. Or parents who love possessions too much tend to be so uptight about protecting their possessions that they unwittingly turn their home into an uncomfortable furniture and craft museum that their children are now tasked to live in. It's possible for a mom to be more worried about stains on the couch than the soul of her son, or for a dad to be more focused on the shine and maintenance of his new car than the heart of his daughter. Ouch. There are parents who fail to be hospitable to friends of their children because they are concerned about the impact on their physical surroundings and possessions. Now, do physical things get in the way of or create needless tension in your parenting? Gee, I don't even know what I was getting into with this video. Or, how about success? Have I convinced you yet to read this book? Because if I haven't, we just got started. I am persuaded that the desire for success is another thing that the Creator wired in us. In the image of the Creator, we are designed to create. We were made to be builders, managers, and doers. We were designed to change our surroundings. We were created to live an imprint of our work as we move to another place. We were made to strategize and to achieve. We were made for this. Because of all of this achievement, success is important to us. We all want to be successful, don't we? In fact, if you have no motivation to succeed or accomplish anything in life, guess what? We would all think that something is emotionally or spiritually wrong with you and that you need some help. But like possessions, this very good thing, that God intended can become a very bad thing in your life if it becomes the ruling treasure it was never meant to be. Thousands and thousands of children are handed over every day to people they don't know because success in work and career has become too important to their parents. Since neither parent is willing to step away from their work outside the home for fear of its long-term implications on their career and finances, no one is left to take care of their children. So someone else must do it. Someone must be hired to do it. And he says, he talks about how this can be controversial and he will never judge a couple who have their children in daycare without knowing the details and blah, blah, blah. But he proceeds by saying, I am troubled that we are not talking more about this. I am saddened by the number of children who are not with their parents for the bulk of the day during their formative years. Saddened by the growing culture of comfortability with latchkey children. I am concerned about how many exhausted parents pick up their children at the end of their day and are just not able to have that kind of patience or grace that they need for the rest of the evening for their children. This is not a matter of a busy schedule, but busyness that is a matter of values. How many children rarely see their father because dad is off to work before the kids even wake up in the morning and home after their kids go to bed? By the time they are teenagers, they're used to dad not being home. They're used to dad not being involved with their lives and don't expect attention or even participation from him anymore. The last thing I'm going to read here is, how has the value of career success impacted your commitment to the work that God has called you as parents? There's so much to be said about this, and I'm sorry if it looks like I'm just reading it, but in reality I am, because there's just so much richness in this book and what Paul David Tripp is saying. I'm going to finish off by sharing a little bit of my own motherhood journey for anyone that is going through something similar as myself or is just like on the fence of not knowing what to do. I am 29. I'll be 29 years old in May, and I am a basically stay-at-home mom. I don't have a problem with being a stay-at-home mom. I do have the desire of one day finishing my nursing degree. Some of my goals were to become a nurse, and it's still there for certain reasons. But honestly, if we had no need to make more money, or if we just did not have more of a financial need, I honestly would not ever work again. But at the moment, my husband is the only one that's working full time. Before we had Dea, we were both working full time and we were good. And honestly, if Dea wasn't here, I would continue my education to becoming a nurse, and I'd probably be working full time, maybe more, I don't know. And we'd be great. I feel like we'd be in a very great situation. But when we decided to have Dea, or even when God blessed us with having Dea, because we didn't plan her, but we were it's not that we didn't want her either. We said when God decides to bless us is when we are more than happy to welcome her in our lives. And so that happened. The plan was that I was going to go back to work even when she was a baby. She wasn't even 3 months old when I decided to pick up a job that was paying me pretty well. So I just wanted to get the training over with and start working later on. And I realized that mindset really shifted for me quickly. For one, my daughter did not want to take a bottle or any pacifiers or anything. She was exclusively breastfed, and until this day, I still breastfeed her here and there. She didn't want a bottle. I guess you could say it's partly our fault because we didn't insist the bottle for like, I think a week. And so she just didn't want it anymore. Or like I just had a problem with hearing her cry too much and I didn't want her to suffer. So I didn't, people say if that's their only source of eating, they will take a bottle eventually. I didn't want to do that. Or the other part would be really God working in our lives and making me stay home with her because that was the only way. We struggled. We really did struggle. I think at some point my husband worked up to like 4 jobs. He had his full-time job during the week. He went on the weekends to another job, but he also worked in the afternoons. It was a hard time for us. And not to say that right now we're living lavishly, because we're still not. But we have definitely learned a lot with the process. And all I can say is God will provide. When your heart is in a good place, when your heart is to honor God and to just do what He has called you to do, He will bless you. That's not to say that I did not work at all when she was a baby. I did not work for a good period of time. And then when I was able to leave her for a good 3-4 hours, I picked up work for 3-4 hours. And then when she was able to leave me for a good 8 hours, or even just like 4 hours, my husband would bring her to me at my lunch, and then I would feed her and take her back. So we found ways to work around it. I honestly hated seeing my husband work so much. So we really had to just buckle down on our expenses and figure out like what's gonna work and what's not. We also never wanted to hire a babysitter or do any of that, besides the fact that she would not leave me. I did not have the heart to leave her, especially with any strangers. It was totally against our desire. And even coming to now, like I'm starting to work a little bit more when there is work available. But I told my husband, it's you and me, babe. Like, it's you and me. Our parents are getting older. They get tired quicker. Her grandparents, they just can't do it anymore. I feel like they have their own jobs. They have their own lives. They have their own homes to take care of. And they can't help us out like they probably could have 10 years ago. So I told him, like, it's you and me, babe. So like you'll go work your full-time job. And for now, I can pick up shifts here and there when you are here. And I guess we're just gonna have to figure it out when the new baby comes. But it has been a challenge for us. I'm not gonna say it's been easy. It's truly been a challenge. And I've looked for ways to work from home. I've looked for ways to like help provide because yes, I am my husband's helper. And whatever it may be, like, I want to help. I am down to help. So I was hearing a sermon from Paul Washer earlier today. I'm not done with it. There were some specific words that really touched my heart. I really love this brother, the way he exposes himself, the way he teaches and preaches the word of God. Like you hear the humbleness, the calmness, the passion, the love he has for Christ through like just his way of expressing himself. But when he does speak with authority, it's just so, it like really like strikes me and convicts me in my heart and just really speaks straight to my heart. Literally, I'm just going to read off what he said. I just wrote down what he said from the video onto my notes. So I'm not taking any credit for any of this. I'll read it and obviously I'll talk about it. But he was talking about the Lord's Prayer and he mentions how it says, "Hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done. Give us this day our daily bread." So people make all kinds of interpretations of this verse. He says that, people make all kinds of nonsense of this text, but what it really means, the point of this text is that you are praying in this way. Here you see the heart of Christ. You're saying, God, my only reason for existence, the only reason for my breath. And He says it just so passionate. I wish I could just you guys need to watch it. I'll link it in my description or listen to it. But he says, the reason of this text, the point of this, the Lord's Prayer, is you are saying, is here you see the heart of Christ. You're saying, God, my only reason for existence, the only reason for my breath is your name to be hallowed. That it be placed in a category totally distinct from all other categories and honored above all other categories. You're saying, when you're saying this verse, is I want to live for that, for your name to be hallowed, for your kingdom to come, for your will to be done. Now give us this day our daily bread, Lord. I don't want riches. I don't want luxury. He says, I don't need anything. Just give me enough food and shelter and clothing so that I can devote my life to fulfilling these 3 things that I prayed about. Just give me the sustenance I need to keep serving you. I can't say it the way he said it. But simply the words that says, I don't want riches. I don't want luxury. I don't need anything. Just give me enough food and shelter and clothing so that I can devote my life to fulfilling these 3 things that I prayed about. And truly, it touches my heart because sometimes we can fall into the category of wanting more. And I'm learning myself to be content with what I have. And I tell God in my prayer, I want to be content. Teach me to be content with where I'm at. Not satisfied as in, I'm not going to strive for more. Like Paul David Tripp was saying, we all have that in us to succeed. God put it in us to want to achieve, to want to have more. That's good. But it becomes bad when it becomes your treasure, when it becomes your priority. I do pray, provide God, and He has provided. There's not a day we haven't gone by without food on our table. Not a single day. Praise God. We have been tight. And this is just me being real and raw with you. We have been tight. But we've always had food. We've always had clothes. And we've always had shelter. In moments of when there's a winter storm and the lights go out, it's when you lay in your bed, cuddly with your family, and you realize how blessed you are. Because you're not out there in the streets. Because you are in a warm home. I want that, what Paul Washer was saying. It doesn't mean I won't strive for more, but it does mean that I'm grateful every day for what I have. And you know what? He says, give me what I just need to fulfill what I had just prayed for, those 3 things. And you know what my job is? And I have it real clear, and I am content with it. To be a mother to my children, to guide my children, to nurture my children, to care for my children, to teach my children, to be there 24/7 for my children. I don't want no one else raising my children. I don't need anyone to raise my children. I don't even need their grandparents to raise my children. No, I'm the mom. He's the dad. And if he works late hours or long hours because he has to provide so that mom can stay with her children and be the one raising their children, that's what's going to happen. But it's not because he doesn't want to be here. That's because he's doing his part. It's not because he's out there working because we want luxury, riches, more than what we need. No, he's doing it because he's providing for what we need. I truly hope that this is some sort of encouragement for you, that what I have shared is of some value to you. And I hope that God spoke to you through my words, through my experiences. I don't have to share the raw stuff with you, my own personal life, my own personal stuff. But I am a living testimony of what God is doing through my life and what He can do through yours. And maybe through my life experiences, through my personal life and what I'm sharing, some of you can relate, and maybe some of you can be convicted. If your treasure has not been your home, your family, your children. If perhaps your treasure has been to succeed, to want more, to maybe even not make your home comfortable for your children. My home has become a daycare, and it's been okay. I try to maneuver it so it doesn't look completely like a daycare, but I'm really into the Montessori stuff, and so I'm really encouraging that for my daughter. And so if that's what it has to be like right now, they're only this little ones. And there's an age 0 to 4 or 5 years old. Their minds, their development is extraordinary. And if I'm the one that can influence and impact and mold these little people to become better or something in life, hey, who cares what my home looks like, right? Who cares what luxurious stuff we can have? Like, we are literally impacting these children and helping them develop their brains, their bodies, their skills into becoming children, teenagers, and adults. My prayer for me and for you is that your treasure may be found in the Lord. And if you're a mother, which you probably are watching this video, your responsibility as a mother is huge. And they should be your priority after the Lord. Your marriage, your children. And obviously there's circumstances, there's situations where it's inevitable. Some moms have to go to work because they're single moms or whatever it may be, you know. But what is your true value? There's always going to be needs. All I'm saying is, where is your treasure? And do you need more than food, shelter, and clothing? God bless you guys. I will see you in my next video. Please subscribe if you haven't. Like this video if it was a blessing to your life. Share a comment down below if you want. Share this video for someone that you think may need to hear it. God bless you, love you, and talk to you later.